Welcome to Fourth Dram and Goal. Tonight we're going to try to keep it short and sweet, starting on the fourth dram. For many reasons. For one, Texans fucking suck, so I drank a lot today. It just so happened to be that time of the year that Sam Adams Oktoberfest has also come out, so that was a quick six-pack to finish. And, of course, anytime you get whiskey in you, you get some ideas. So my friend Dick here has decided he wanted to talk about a topic tonight, and I was more than happy to oblige. Dick, lay it on me.
All right. So we'll talk about our quick hitters of sweet golden brown unicorns. These the rules of the segment are going to be that we've never had it, either a bottle or a pour, why we want to have it, and then how much would we expect to pay for that either bottle or pour. So, Kurt, I'm going to kick it to you first.
Okay, well, so here's the fun thing that I told Dick. Don't tell me what tonight's topic was. So good to know now, you fucking nerd. All right, let me think here. Ones that we haven't had, right? Because I could list you the unicorns I've seen out in the wild.
But did you buy it?
I have bought. Well, we've talked about this. I've talked about my George T. Stagg that I've got my hands on. I've had. Oh, I did have Elijah Craig Barrel Proof when I first got into the game. Have not seen it since. I've had glasses at restaurants that I would definitely call unicorns. But if I had to talk about ones that I would want from a never had before list, let's go with Eagle Rare 17 to start.
Okay.
I'll start with that just because it's part of the Buffalo Trace Antique Collection. I've had George T. Stagg. I have had Thomas Handy Sazerac. Both very, very good. So, I mean, naturally, you would just want to continue the trend and try to get the whole collection. So I would definitely try to get my hands on Eagle Rare 17. Now, continue your nerdy rules again because I can't remember them.
So how much would you expect to pay for it?
Okay. Other than convincing you to buy me a drink at the bar when you're completely shit-faced.
Well, there's never anything good wrong with a good handy. So.
Ooh. Well. Okay, so I'll compare it to when I bought George T. Stagg. I paid $100. I would have paid $150 for it. So I would pay $125 for Eagle Rare 17 to give it a try. For a glass, I would easily pay $35, $40 just to give it a try. So yeah, I'll start off with that bottle right there.
All right. I think it's a excellent choice. So my first one's going to be, this is one that I've been trying to get my hands on. I called into Whiskey Cake here in San Antonio and was able to identify that they do actually have it in stock, but Weller Full Proof. Now, what blew me out of the water was the price they were asking for. So they were looking for $40 for a pour, and that was just insane to me. The MSRP on that bottle is $50. I would pay $100 for that bottle, but that's really just because I'm a big Weller fanboy. I'm a big weeder bitch. So at the end of the day,
weeder bitch.
Yeah,
all right,
weeder
that's
bitch.
A new one. I'm gonna put that one in there.
So yeah, I'd pay $100 to try it. I've heard the Full Proof out of the new release line is the best out of it. Flavors and proof all in and considered. The single barrel isn't quite there because really the single barrel should be essentially a store select or a store pick of Weller Green Reserve or Special Reserve rather. So what's your second?
Okay, so yeah, so there's been I've told you the luck I've had on this, unicorn hunting season, as you call it, and I've struck out on Birthday Bourbon, which is another one that I've had in the past that is just delicious. But I'm gonna think of the ones that I've been seeing on the whiskey blogs and everyone posting about them. I'll go with the Magnus Cigar blend. I've heard a lot of good things about it. I've seen people pay up to $200 for it, and they've said that would be perfectly fine and worth it. But then it starts getting tricky because then you start getting into what batch, this batch, that batch, a basic batch. I'm going to go ahead and say that I would pay to be safe. I would probably pay $150 for it. I know I said that about the last bottle. I'm thinking 150 is kind of like my safe range. If I saw it for 170, 175, I'm probably going to pull my leg here and I'll probably grab it. So yeah, but like I said, the only reason I'm saying that is because I've seen so many people post it. So you're kind of going off of other people's opinions. And if it's good enough for, several of those that are out there in the whiskey field, should be good for me. But like we've discussed before, that's not always going to be the case. So you're taking a risk, but I would definitely take that risk with that bottle. So what about you, buddy? What's number 2 for you?
Well, I think you bring up a really interesting topic that we can maybe get into, but the batches or the axe or, what barrel it was from, that's a whole different topic that I think we should talk about at a later point, specifically around how do you know what's a good batch and what's not a good batch. So much of it comes down to the taste, and it's all personal preference. But that's very, very difficult. It's getting super into it. And I think as a rule of thumb, if you see a bottle that we recommend, don't worry about the batch, grab it, and then we'll talk about the batch later.
All right, basic batch.
Got to be a basic batch. So my second one, speaking of basic batches, is going to get a little deeper into a deep rabbit hole that I can get into. Getting there nice and deep black.
Oh, just got to take it over that creepy line. Just leave it at the... Anyway, continue.
French fried mashed potatoes. So, speaking of basic batches, I'm going to go with...
fuck that. We're not going to throw a Billy Bob Thornton reference in there and just continue like, that's normal.
That is normal. That's part of my normal link. That is part of my normal lingual patterns.
That's not a good thing. All right, go for it.
So, speaking of basic batches, I'm going to talk about Blanton's Gold. So, you know how my stance on Blanton's. I think there's better whiskeys for the price.
Normal Blanton's sell out.
Normal Blanton's, though, is always going to be single barrel. So if someone's ever, I got a store pick. Well, it's all fucking single barrel, so calm your tits. But with
Don't
Blanton's
you talk
Gold,
shit about store picks, you son of a bitch.
Hey, I'm only going to talk shit about store picks when it's already a single barrel.
No. Let's go back because I'm pretty sure somebody a couple weeks ago was like, man, you were so right about your store picks.
Yes, you are right about your store picks when it's not already a single barrel. If it's already a single barrel, all you're really doing is paying for a little stamp on there that was some guy's preference that works at the corporate headquarters or that chain of liquor stores. The nice thing about store picks and any other whiskey is that it guarantees you have a single barrel on a non-typical single barrel whiskey.
Got you. Store picks, single barrel. The store picks them, usually delicious. Got it.
Fair enough, depending on how much you like the guy. But the cool thing about Blanton's Gold, and for those of you who wonder, like, what's different? Like, can't I just take a Blanton's bottle and spray paint the top gold and I call it Blanton's Gold? No, it's actually a different proof. So it's bottled at a different proof. Instead of being the 93, it's actually a 103. And it was only recently available here in the U.S. this year. Typically, it was only exported over to Asia, and you couldn't get it here in the U.S. unless you bought it back. Whole long story. End of the day, though, if you're looking to buy this at MSRP, you're talking about $120. You're not going to find it. You're not going to see it. You're going to find it on secondary, but I would not be paying more than $150 because I think right now it's such a hot topic, hot commodity. We all want to try it, that people are going to be gouging you on the internet trying to sell it to you. A typical pour, though, I think is really where you're going to hit your mark. Should be right about $30 at your local whiskey savant restaurant where they're going to have a good selection.
Savant.
How do you spell that one? Is that the spelling bee word for you?
I think it's GOFUCK yourself. Okay. So, and this may be silly, but I'm hoping that some of our listeners are growing in their whiskey knowledge. So if you're wondering, Blanton's, we've said it a couple of times. And like I said, I'm getting real basic here. Blanton's is the fancy bottle with the nice little horse on top of it that has become such a commodity that you can't find it in the liquor stores anymore, but you will find it at your local restaurant. And hopefully be able to enjoy a glass. My buddy Dick here has a love-hate relationship, as you can hear. So just kind of giving a quick little background on it. If you're well into the whiskey game, you're going to tell me shut the fuck up. We know, but just covering all our topic, covering all our bases here. So yeah, that's a good solid one. You know, I'll also throw that my luck has been so shitty in my unicorn hunting this season. I've ran into 2 bottles which you would call possibly rare, and I've literally texted Dick to ask like, hey, totally wouldn't, but just confirm my decision. I saw regular Blantons for 120. You remember me texting you that, right?
Yep. And I'm sure you remember my answer.
Yes. Your answer was, is it gold? And I was all, of course it's not fucking gold. And you were like, then don't fucking buy it. And then, you know, the other one I had was E.H. Taylor, just small batch, which is a $45, $50 bottle. Saw it in a store, $115. So easily passed on that, even though that's a very delicious bottle. If you can get your hands on it for the MSRP of, you know, I would even pay $60 if I saw it. What about you?
So I have a bottle, and I've bought 2 bottles. Look at me. I bought 2 bottles, and I paid.
I have 2 bottles. Once again, another bottle that I didn't give Kurt.
I've bought 2 bottles. I have one right now. It's about halfway done. I'm pretty sure you've had it. The kicker on that, and what Kurt is getting at here, is you're going to see those prices at these tiny little mom and pop shops, and they've typically got like color card, like cut out with little bullshit stars. It's like $1.99 on this. Don't fall for that shit. Just because they have it doesn't mean that they're going to give you a good deal on it. Where you're going to run to, it's good deals are medium-sized liquor stores in smaller towns. Smaller towns that aren't big cities. Just drive through them on your way to go visit your parents. Stop at 2 or 3 liquor stores on the way, and you'll probably find yourself a bottle of Eagle Rare, E.H. Taylor, something like that, that's just sitting there because they don't know what they have, or they really don't give a shit.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. There was a big bright orange sticker cut into a, you know the signs, the cutouts with the big shapes. Yeah. All right, so I guess it's my turn. I'm on deck for number 3.
Yep.
Okay, so once again, this is going back to bottles that I have heard, bourbon junkies, whiskey pages, things like that. I'm going to go with the one that you recommended to me about 2 months ago, and I'm kicking my ass because I ended up seeing it in a store after that. The only reason I passed on it was because it was the small batch. It wasn't the uncut, unfiltered, and that would be the Smoke Wagon uncut, unfiltered. So saw it in a store, didn't know enough about it, should have grabbed it. It was single barrel. It was a single barrel, and I passed on it. And then, of course, within the last couple of weeks, you're seeing it left and right. People are putting it's delicious. People are saying they would spend a good amount on it. I should have grabbed it just to try, but I've kept my eye out for the Smoke Wagon uncut, unfiltered since I've been in the store. You see the labels on the shelf. Of course, there's nothing all behind that label, so that means it was there at one point, and I could have grabbed it. I don't know. You may know more about it than me. I'm thinking people are posting $65, $70. I would probably pay $90, $100. But is it an MGP if I'm not mistaken?
I think we'll need to do some research on that. I don't believe so. I know they're out of Vegas or Nevada, so it's another one of our western states, or what do you even call them, desert states, putting that product out. But I did see like a case at Specs, like right when it was starting to come out and get some attention. And I kicked myself in the ass because it's about $75 and I didn't get by it. And to be honest with you, that's the only reason that I sucked it up and bought that Sam Houston 14 when I saw it sitting there for $98, because I knew I had that Smoke Wagon in the back of my head, like, you little bitch, you should have bought it. You little bitch, you should have bought it. Don't worry about what the wife says when you get home. Just buy it because you're not going to have that chance again. And kick myself in the ass every time. But it's a good lesson learned for me.
Yep, you'll learn. I'm I'm looking. I'm doing my research right now.
Well, you do your research, and I'll talk about my third one here, and we'll double back.
Mash Bill MGP. I totally cut you off like an asshole, but I mean, I have it right here in front of me.
Go for it.
Mash Bill MGP 36% rye mash bill. So it looks like we're using some stuff from MGP, which I mean, that's like
it's not surprising.
It's not a bad thing, and it's a pretty sweet looking bottle.
No, I mean, you speak about like MGP. I'm drinking this George Remus single barrel right here, and it is distilled by George Remus Distilling Co. in Lawrenceburg, Indiana, and I'm pretty sure that is an MGP product.
Yeah, so not to cut you off again before you tell us number 3 on your list, but that's probably the best luck I've had this whiskey season is I was able to get the Remus Special Reserve Batch 3, which, you know, I think I texted you enough about it. Delicious bourbon candy, sweet, good stuff, MGP. But like I told you, if I wasn't looking for so many other bottles right now and wanting to just try so many out there, I would definitely go back and get another one of those. It was $80, well worth it. I would pay, you know, easily 90, 100 if you see it out there. Batch 3, I haven't had batch 4. I heard that one's pretty good, but yeah.
I almost picked up a batch 4 because of your recommendation last weekend at Specs, but ended up passing on it. Now, I'll kind of segue here into my third pick, and mine's third pick is going to be the most bougie pick out of anything we talked about tonight. Bougie bourbon. This pick is actually going to be I guess you'd call it a BTAC, right? It's a Buffalo Trace product, but it's not typical to their antique collection. But it's Double Eagle, very rare. And the beautiful thing about this bottle is it's a 20-year bourbon. It's an amazing bottle. So you get this beautiful glass bottle, and you get this glass eagle on top of it, and there's a glass eagle blown into the bottom of the bottle. I've seen that bottle, an empty bottle, going on sale like on eBay and stuff like that for like $300-$400 just for the bottle.
Just for the bottle. So you're setting yourself up for a pretty good price there then.
Yeah. So I've seen it in the wild one time. It was pre-COVID. It was in 1919 here in San Antonio. Like it had just came out, and walked up to the bar. My wife and I were hanging out, having some drinks. And I said, "Hey, do you guys happen to have it?" And they're like, "Yeah, it's right over there." And they pointed to it. And I was like, "How much is that?" And so they're like, "Well, it's not on the menu. It wasn't at the time." It was $500 a pour. And I was blown away. But when you look at this thing retail, the recommended price is $2,000 for the bottle. So think about what that is on the secondary market if you can find it. It is rough, but you know, kind of tie back to, you know, if you can find it, right?
Yeah.
So I was at Specs 2 weekends ago, and they had a very, very limited release of Kentucky Owl, and it was for $1,800. But they had it in stock in the back. They just could not find someone to buy it.
What Kentucky Owl are we talking?
So, if I'm not mistaken, it was their Kentucky Owl dry state ultra rare bourbon, but it's non-age stated. And what I've read is there's only about 2,000 bottles distributed. So super rare, but once again, you go to non-age stated, and that age doesn't have everything to do whether it's a good whiskey or not. But if it's non-age stated, it means that only guarantees you that it's a 4 to 6 year old bourbon. It's probably a mixture.
Yeah, and you'll see Kentucky Owl like on the shelf. And I bit the bullet last year, and I bought their rye, and I was not disappointed. It was very delicious. At $200 a bottle, and then when you see it that often in the shelf, it's just one of those like, oh, I can
always there.
That. Yeah. Speaking of 1919, man, and we have no affiliation with them whatsoever. That just happens to be one of the best places that me and Dick here have been able to like hang out and like try, and especially since that's Homer for my buddy Dick. They're opening back up this Monday after COVID, so that's a cool thing.
That would be cool. And that's a tight little spot, though.
Yeah.
I wish, and I'm going to have to look into it, but I would love for them to do to-go orders.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. I mean, I wouldn't get food, but whatever.
If they sell me a hot dog, I'll buy a bunch of bourbon. Fine. It's fine.
All right, man. Well, that was a good little short segment. We haven't talked sports, and we haven't talked what was in our glasses tonight, so we may as well end this shit on that. What was in your glass tonight, man?
So I was drinking that George Remus. It's a different bottle than the Remus you found, but same
Right.
age group, right? So when I bought this, I think it was $68. Found it at Specs. It's a single barrel, 123 proof. So nice spice kick to it, really punchy, but just kind of they got that traditional bourbon warmth, bourbon burn. I would actually recommend it, even for the price point. I think this is a hitter that 45 to 80 if you can find it. 65 was a good spot for it, but I would pay probably upwards of 80 for it.
Nice.
How about you?
I'm finishing off that Maker's Mark 101. Yeah, and I was able to finally make a fair comparison between the Maker's Mark 101 and Maker's Mark Cast Strength.
Did you do a blind?
No, I did not go blind because I just didn't see the point in it. For one, I've killed probably about 10 cast strength bottles in my time. And you're going to tell the difference between a 110 and a 101.
Yeah. You think.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I've got to go cast strength. 101 was delicious. They're both classic Maker Marks taste, but 101 just cast strength just has that heat, has that, when it gets to a certain heat, it has that syrupy taste and feeling, and that's what that has that I just love. But yeah, 101 was great for the price. That's another one of those that I've seen online, 50, 60. I was fortunate enough to grab it for like 37, which was cheaper than cast strength, but I'll pay the extra $3 for cast strength. I enjoy it that much more. What about sports, man? Anything big on the TV today?
I mean, there's a lot on the TV today, and I think we'll probably talk about that a bit more in our next podcast episode.
Yeah, I'm watching the Sunday night football game right now.
Yeah, someone's getting carted off. I didn't see who it was.
No, I didn't either. Kyler Murray, though, they're kind of hanging with them. There's been a couple turnovers that have helped out the Cardinals. I think they scored off of it earlier, but yeah, lots of sports we can get into tomorrow night.
For sure. Do you want to give them a little hint of what our next or tomorrow night's agenda is going to be?
Oh, absolutely. We're going to talk the return of the Big Ten. We're going to talk the upset, of course, that everyone's talking about, that final play. Did he get to the goal line? Did he not? We're going to talk NFL updates, and we're actually going to do a pretty cool segment for our hockey fans who currently might just be me right now, but a little original six background and tie that into a little taste testing that we're going to do. Hope you enjoy it. Hope you join us, and drink on to the next snap and to the next dram.
Drink on, my friends.